Good evening, I'm Reverend Timothy Sylvia, Senior Pastor of Newman Congregational Church, United Church of Christ in Rumford. In my young adult years, there was a place that I considered to be my primary hangout. It was called JR's Nightclub in Rhode Island, Illinois. It was my oasis. It was a welcome break from the craziness of the world. It was a place where I could be the young man that I knew I had been created to be. And I celebrated there the chance to be surrounded by others who felt the same as I did. It was my sanctuary. It was our sanctuary. It was sacred space. It was holy ground. The lights, the music, the dance floor, they called to me as if they were speaking to my soul. They called to me because no other place could. No other place could give me the sense of freedom and security that as a young gay man I longed to experience. My home could not provide it, and the religion to which my family was loosely connected could not provide it. So I sought it out, and I found it. It was in the gay clubs that those became the safest places for me to simply be me. My experience in the clubs as sacred space is not unique. Many of us in the queer community feel exactly the same. The words we use to describe the experience may differ, but we have sought these spaces out, and within them we have had an experience of safety and of freedom like no other. But friends, the events of this week have shown us that this is no longer the case. Under the cover of darkness, with the mesmerizing beat of the music in line with the beating hearts of those on the dance floor, bullets flew. Heartbeats were ceased. The holy ground of Pulse Nightclub was shattered, and it is now the scene of a bloody massacre, the deadliest we have seen. They were dancing. They were living. They were loving. And now the music, the dance of life has been stopped. So we gather this evening to take pause and to acknowledge the beating and perhaps the breaking open of our own hearts. We take this moment to seek comfort in the presence of one another, joining together in our pain, our anger, our absolute disbelief that once again our nation is sent reeling because of this senseless act. And it is important that we are here. It is important that we join together our hearts, our hands, our lives, remembering those who have died, those who will not dance again. It is important that we acknowledge the sanctity of the dance floor, just as we acknowledge that our clubs have often been safer and more sacred for the queer community and others on the margins than many of our places of worship. The shots that rang out just days ago add to the pain and the death that has been caused by many in our religious traditions, furthering inequality and shaming those of us who wish to live as we have been created. We now live in a world where anger and hatred have been allowed to flourish unchallenged. Many of our places of worship have served as barriers to those who desperately seek community, and instead they find the places that we inhabit to be just as unsafe as the dance floor was early Sunday morning. But friends, know that not all of our places of worship are unsafe. I'm thankful that I and so many others represented tonight come from religious traditions that have been honoring the sacredness of the queer community for years. I'm thankful that I live in a state where it was legal for my husband and I to marry well before it became the law of the land. I am thankful for those who have gone before us, those who have made these things possible for each and every one of us. Thankful for those who paved the way so that we all are able to experience holy ground. And in my thankfulness, I recognize that now it's my turn. It's our turn. Our turn to work together to ensure that these things for which we are thankful, the safety and the freedom which we have enjoyed, it is our turn to work to ensure that they do not go away. We must work together to bring about the change in our world that is so desperately needed, loving one another as we have been created, Loving one another despite our differences, our queerness, our ethnicities, our intricacies. Loving one another genuinely and unconditionally. Showing that love by creating more and more safe places for each other. By working together to bring about change, by ceasing to ignore legislation that could bring about a world where guns do not end up in the hands of those who would use them to cause harm. That is the world for which we are working together. So in the midst of and throughout and beyond our grieving this atrocity, we must be about so much more. Together, we must live to not give in to the fear. We must celebrate pride. We must befriend our neighbors. We must fill up the dance floors. We must create sacred space. Together we will stand on holy ground, and above all else, friends, we will keep dancing. Thank you.